I'm going to tell you something I wish someone had sat me down and said to me when I was young. Really said it, honestly, because it took me more than 60 years to understand what I'm about to share with you now. And if you're willing to listen, not just with your ears, but with your life, you might save yourself decades of quiet disappointment. I'm going to tell you something I wish someone had sat me down and said to me when I was young. Really said it, honestly, because it took me more than 60 years to understand what I'm about to share with you now. And if you're willing to listen, not just with your ears, but with your life, you might save yourself decades of quiet disappointment. That was a hard one for me. I spent years trying to manage outcomes, trying to fix things before they broke, trying to keep everyone comfortable so nothing would fall apart. I thought that was love. I thought that was responsibility. But in reality, it was fear. Fear of things going wrong. Fear of not being enough if something didn't work out. And the problem with living that way is that it quietly exhausts you. You're always anticipating, always adjusting, always carrying more than what belongs to you. I didn't even realize how heavy it was until I started putting some of it down. Not all at once, just little pieces. Letting someone else handle their own problems. Allowing a situation to unfold without stepping in immediately. Accepting that not everything needs my involvement. At first, it felt wrong. But over time, something surprising happened. I started to feel lighter. Not careless, not indifferent, just lighter. And that's when I understood that peace isn't something you earn after everything is perfect. It's something you allow when you stop trying to hold the entire world together by yourself. Now the eighth truth. Not everyone will understand you, and that's okay. For a long time, I tried to be understood by everyone. I explained myself, I softened my words, I adjusted my opinions at the dinner table, at work, at family gatherings. All in the hope that people would see me clearly and accept me. But here's what I learned. When you shape yourself too much for the comfort of others, you slowly lose the shape of who you really are. And even then, there's no guarantee they'll understand you anyway. That was a difficult realization, but also a freeing one. Because once I accepted that not everyone would see me the way I hoped, I stopped performing. I stopped over-explaining. I stopped seeking approval in places where it was never going to be given in the way I needed. And instead, I began to focus on something far more important. Being honest with myself. That honesty leads directly into the ninth truth. Your relationships change when you change. Some will grow deeper, some will become distant, and some may quietly fall away. That can feel painful, especially if you've spent years building those connections. But it's not always a sign that something has gone wrong. Sometimes it's a sign that something has finally become right. I've had friendships and family relationships built on who I used to be. The version of me that said yes to everything, that avoided conflict, that kept the peace at any cost. And when I began to set limits, to speak more honestly, to take up a little more space, those relationships shifted. Some people didn't know how to meet me there, and for a while I thought I had done something wrong. But I hadn't. I had simply changed. And change, even when it's healthy, can feel like loss. But it also creates space for more genuine connections, for conversations that don't feel forced, for relationships where you don't have to shrink to keep them. And that brings me to the 10th truth. Time is not something you have as much of as you think. I don't say that to scare you. I say it because it's something I didn't fully understand until I could feel it. When we were young, time felt endless. We believed we could always start later, fix things later, say what we needed to say later. But later has a way of becoming never if you're not careful. There are moments I wish I had handled differently, words I wish I had said sooner, choices I wish I had made with more courage instead of hesitation. Not because my life was a failure, it wasn't, but because I can see now how often I waited when I didn't need to. So if there is something in your life that you know matters to you, don't keep placing it at the end of the line. Don't assume you'll always have another chance to return to it. Sometimes the most meaningful changes begin with a quiet decision to stop waiting. And finally, this is the 11th truth, the one that ties everything together in a way that feels simple but took me a lifetime to understand. The life you are searching for is not somewhere else. It is built in the way you live each day. It's in how you speak to yourself when no one else is around. It's in the boundaries you allow yourself to have. It's in the moments you choose presence over distraction, honesty over comfort, self-respect over approval. It's not a destination you arrive at one day and finally say, "Now I'm happy." It's something you create quietly and consistently over time. I used to think that one day everything would fall into place and I would finally feel settled. But life doesn't arrange itself like that. There is no perfect moment waiting for you at the end of the road. There is only this moment and the next, and the way you choose to meet them. If I could sit across from my younger self, I wouldn't tell her to do everything differently. I would simply tell her to listen to herself a little sooner, to trust that her worth wasn't something she had to earn, to understand that being a good person doesn't mean disappearing into everyone else's needs, and to remember that her life belonged to her, even when it felt like it didn't. And if you're listening to me now, at whatever stage of life you're in, I want you to know this. It's not too late to come back to yourself. It's not too late to question the patterns that no longer serve you. It's not too late to choose a different way of living, one that feels more honest, more grounded, more yours. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to make dramatic changes overnight. Just begin with awareness. Begin with one small shift, one honest thought, one decision that reflects who you really are, not who you've been trying to be. Over time, those small moments will add up. And one day, you'll look at your life and realize that something has changed. Not suddenly, not loudly, but deeply. You'll feel more at home in yourself. And that feeling, that quiet sense of being at peace with who you are, that's something no achievement, no title, no milestone can replace. It took me more than 60 years to understand these things, and I'm still learning, still growing, still uncovering parts of myself I had set aside for too long. But if sharing this can help you see even a little more clearly, or feel a little less alone in your own thoughts, then it's worth it. Thank you for sitting with me, for listening, and for giving these words a place in your day. Take care of yourself, truly, and I'll see you again soon.